see you at the top. That's where I go. Hate me now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the See You at the Top podcast. I am grateful to have the one, the only, Sir Rod, inspirational speaker, 333 lifer. And we're going to get right into this interview. Expect a lot of inspiration from it, a lot of wisdom. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Where do I start?
We got a lot to start. We got a lot.
So definitely, I know you're going to be dropping some jewels and whatnot, but I'm going to get into kind of how I found you through this massive thing we have called the internet. So just to give all the listeners out there a little background about how this happened is I did a 10-day Vipassana meditation. And what the Vipassana meditation was all about was going within for 10 days. And I was that kid that couldn't sit still for 2 seconds. I knew this was going to be one of my biggest challenges. I knew that I had a lot of inspiration. I knew I was on the right track, but I knew I had a lot of weaknesses. I couldn't sit still. I had a lot of anxiety. I just wasn't living in the moment. So I did this 10-day meditation. And throughout this 10-day meditation, almost every time I'd look at that clock, I kept seeing 333. And I said, man, what's going on here? Didn't really think too much of it. I get out of the 10-day meditation. It was one of the most euphoric feelings I've ever had in my entire life. That anxiety that I've had in my body was completely gone. That I was literally just listening. I wasn't doing the talking for a change in my life. I was just listening, observing, but I found out so many of my weaknesses throughout it, but we'll save that for a whole nother podcast. But I came out and I asked one of my friends, I said, I keep seeing this number 333. And she was an astrologist. And she came to me and she said 333 has a whole lot of meaning behind it. I didn't think anything of numbers at the time. And she goes, you got to Google some meaning behind 333. So I Googled immediately that day. And I found out that it's there's all different types of meanings, but it definitely has some symbolism behind it. And what I found out that day is if you're seeing 333, it means that you're very aligned with your mind, with your body, and with your soul. And that if you keep seeing this number, you're going to be firing on all cylinders and you're going to be very inspired. And I was more inspired than I ever have been a day in my life. And I know we're interviewing you today. I just wanted to intro the OG 333 lifer over here.
That's hot.
And I just kept seeing it, and definitely so much inspiration came from it. And I definitely seek these numbers now. Patternicity, numericities. People call them different things.
Right.
But I just kept seeing 333, and a lot of amazing things were happening. And I kind of wanted to see if anybody else was seeing this because I didn't really understand what it meant. I just knew that I was seeing things. And after I had came back from that meditation, I was more aligned with my mind, my body, and my soul than ever before. And I've been aligning ever since then, every single year. So I go to YouTube, probably a few weeks after I kept seeing this number. And I type in, is anybody else, something like that. Is anybody else seeing 333?
Right.
And this guy in a hotel comes up. He's sitting at this glass table. And he's got a 333 chain on. Looks probably just like that one right there.
Yeah.
and it was you. And the video had several 100,000 views on it. And you just started talking about, hey, if anybody else is seeing these 333s, reach out to me. And I said, man, I felt connected to you from that day. And I'm all about listening to that intuition, listening to that inspiration, the signs that the universe has given you, God, whatever you want to call it. Right. So I reached out to you because I feel like I was finding some of those answers. And, through my mentor, Dr. DeMartini, and some others, I really felt like I was finding a lot of answers out. Still a lot more answers I'm seeking for. So I reached out to you and I just said, hey, man, I'd love to chat with you. And we ended up chatting. You ended up definitely. And I think I even waited till 333 to message him that day. Had to keep the energy right. But we ended up talking that day. And the funny thing was he was finding his answers as well. So where were you at during that first video?
I think the first time we spoke, I was out on tour somewhere.
No, but in the YouTube video, because you had said you were working in a hotel or something like that. This was years ago.
Oh no, actually that YouTube video was actually my dining room in our house here.
Oh, okay.
But now let me tell you, for guys like you, 333, you say 333 lifer, that all came about for my journey. See, you guys, I made it easy for you guys. I'm originally started working at a record label, So Deaf. And while I was there, I was seeing this number all the time. And it had been like a 20-year journey. I was seeing it. The number 333 led me to Atlanta, Georgia, where I eventually started working for the record label. And I ended up start speaking in schools as an anti-bullying presenter. But all that happened because of this. Well, I had to, after a few years, because long time ago, the internet wasn't as robust as it is right now. So it took me almost 6 years to find out what that number meant. And so I got this chain made afterwards while I was working at the So Deaf. And people used to ask me all the time, what does 333 mean? I see it. What does 333? And so I got tired of trying to explain to people what it meant. So I decided I'll just do a little video with the story and I'll put it online. I thought I could save some time, send people to that video. Nobody else would be interested, just the people here in Atlanta. 200, 300,000 views later, here we are. And then I made 333 Lifer as a place where everybody can meet and talk numbers and speak, because there's different levels of seers. You know, there's numerologists, and I've called myself, I keep it simple and basic, but I always tell people 333 means yes. If you're seeing it, it's giving you the green light. It's basically what you're saying. I just dumb it down. You know, you're a lawyer by trade, so you got to make it sophisticated. I like to keep everything kind of basic because, you know, and I believe if you're seeing numbers, you're called for a special mission. Basically, I feel like the number seers are special to bring light to this very dark world that we're in. And that's why it cuts across religion, it cuts across ethnicity, it cuts across all those borders. But I notice a lot of times, a lot of the people who see the numbers have the same energy, positive.
Amen to that for sure. And, you know, I think the same thing. To me, when I see it, it's not like necessarily this has all this meaning tied in. It's just kind of you seeing the balance, the perfection in the universe. It's just the universe's way of saying, keep going.
Yeah, it's guiding you. It's guiding you to the steps.
And I think people,
go ahead.
You know, I definitely think, you know, 333 is what we see, but I think some people might see 444.
Oh, yeah.
Some people see 1111. It's just whatever really you're seeing. It's just kind of.
Sometimes I go through waves. I'll catch a wave of 1111, or I might 444. Right now, the threes are back. It was 444 for a while.
That's why we got the 333 balloons
I
for
know,
you today. Definitely. And, you know, and it comes in waves for me a little bit as well. My business partner, Seth, he sees 444 all the time. And when he was in the,
444 was coming in for me for a while.
And he was seeing 444 in the meditation. I was seeing 333. But yeah, I never thought I'd be this, you know, if you would have told me this 10 years ago, what are you, one of these conspiracy theorists, something like that? But there's some magic out there. There's some magic out there in this universe. And when you just go within and you start to just push your potential, man, you see some of the most amazing things, for sure. But tell me a little bit about, so how did you go from where you were, and how did you end up getting into kind of the inspirational speaking path and speaking to the kids? Because I see you go to, you know, you're very good at what you do. I've seen a lot of your speeches now. You know, you have great energy, and you go into these schools all over the city, all over the nation, really, and you pump these kids up.
Now I've been to South Korea speaking to kids about bullying.
You got North Korea next.
Everything starts with 333. It led me to Atlanta. I started seeing, I was a bellman in Florida, working at a hotel, 333 First Street South, go figure. And it was I call three angels in the book that came through. It was these white gentlemen would come through. And the reason why that's significant, because I had a lot of business guys will come through. And most African Americans know about the city of Atlanta being the Mecca. But what was so special about these was three white gentlemen who came through, and they said, Rod, your energy is so positive, and why are you here in St. Petersburg, Florida? You need to be in Atlanta. I'm like, why Atlanta? I didn't want to come to Atlanta. So after my third angel said that, I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll just give a call to Atlanta and check out. And I noticed that Atlanta had a hotel, Hilton and Towers, Atlanta Hilton and Towers. which is kind of a rare name for Hilton because I was working at the St. Petersburg Hilton and Towers. So I thought that's a coincidence. So I decided to call the Hilton. I called them. Guy picks up the phone. The bellman picks up the phone. We start shooting the breeze, talking bellman talk. Hit it off real well. And then he says, it's strange that you would call because we have 2 positions open. If you could get up here, I would give you the job. I was talking to the bell captain. Got in my car, drove up, interviewed, came back. He called me again and said, Rod, I love you. I would give you the job right now, but it's such a trusted position because it's downtown Atlanta. You have to interview with the GM. Rented another car, came back up again, interviewed with the GM, came back again, and then they called me and said, you got the job. So the 3rd time I came to Atlanta ever, I was moving back. And then from there, I ended up getting a job at the record label. And from the record label, we started a school touring company. And my original thought was to have, like Russell Simmons, I was going to have rappers and singers go and entertain the kids and then talk to them about bullying or staying away from drugs. But what I found out is not everybody has a gift to speak to kids. And the rappers would like do their song, and then it's time to speak to the kids. Don't do drugs. All right, my next song is so-and-so. Like, no. And I got lucky, which I don't think it was luck. I think everything was in the pathway. Something in me was jumping when they weren't saying the right thing to the kids. So I said, give me the microphone. And I spoke. And I could be in front of 800 or 900 kids. They get quiet. I don't know why. It's a gift. And I just try to use it for the right purposes.
That's beautiful. And you know what? It's just one of those things. Everybody has that gift. I believe it strongly, thoroughly, with my whole heart. You know, me being kicked out of school, used to smoke cigarettes, used to do drugs, been arrested 2 times, to being where I am now, kind of in a 10-year period. I know that everybody has a unique gift, and the higher power has given us all that gift. And you got to get out there and try these different things and listen to these signs, you know, because sometimes we're so consumed by everything that we're not listening to the signs. And clearly you're an inspired person. You're listening to these signs. And it's so funny how this 333 has worked for me. Speaking of, I just moved offices, me and my dad and my other companies, we moved offices last year. And we're looking for an office, and, you know, we're looking for something nice. And my dad goes, Kirby, I think I found the perfect office for us. It's a friend of ours from the Houstonian, the local health club that we go to. He goes, I know that I met this guy there. We have a perfect office. And he goes, but, you know, I'm going to let you make the decision because you're the one really running the operation. So I come down to the office right below us where we're sitting right now. And we get there, and my dad is with the owner of the building, who is our tenant now. And it's my friend as well from the health club. It's a guy that we both know from the club. And right. Your son's Kirby? You didn't tell me it was Kirby. and we start to walk upstairs, and we keep going, and we get right to the office. And I look to the left, and it says 333 on the door. And I said, Dad, are you pulling my leg here, man? Are you kidding me, Dad? He goes, what are you talking about? I said, you know, I love 333. I see it everywhere. He goes, maybe it's the perfect office then.
Yeah, they go figure, right?
Go figure. It's the perfect office, and it's been really serving us and helping us grow our mission, and it's perfect. But let me touch on the first time I messaged you real quick. So you messaged me. We had a planned phone call. I was at our old office, and you had called me, and we talked for a few minutes.
Right.
And we had scheduled another phone call because I think we were both a little busy that day.
Yeah, we're going to try to do it on a regular basis.
Definitely. And we got to get back to that too, man. We got to get back to that.
Lives, man. This is just
definitely. We're moving, but we got to stay in touch more. And I just remember we talked briefly. We were going to schedule something else, and I shot you a text message probably 2 hours prior to this incident I'm going to talk about. And I just said, hey, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you, man. I felt the inspiration. Really looking forward to building a relationship with you. And I'm driving home. And one of these spots that I constantly keep seeing. So I drove by this spot, 200 times at my old office. Right. But probably about a week before I had that conversation with you, I was driving by the spot, and there's this. I got gum in my mouth. I'll take that out of the video. Don't worry. So I'm driving by this spot,
Right.
And we had just signed the contract to this new business, which is called Car Accident Solution, which we created, which is all about three. It's all about connecting legal, medical, and auto and creating a one-stop shop that's stress-free from A to Z.
Oh, that's
and we signed we worked so hard to get to this point, and we finally signed the contract. And we signed the contract, and I'm on my way home, and there's this most beautiful building where I've gotten all this inspiration from, where I started Kirby Better, where my mentor office is in the top of this building. Mm-hmm. And I'm driving, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I look to the right one time. I drive by this building every single time. I look to the right, and it says 333. And I drove by this building 1,000 times, and then I look, and it's taking me towards my vision when I look forward after that. So that immediately was like, I drove by this 200 times, but the day that I signed the contract for something I've been working super hard for, I see that 333. I look straight up, and I can see my vision right in front of my face.
Wow.
And the first time that we had talked, and I text you, I was driving by that sign 1 week later. We had talked when I was at the office. We said, hey, we schedule something when we both have time. You had never texted me before. We're driving. And I'm not even talking about the 333 sign is this big on the building. It's 4 miles away from the office. I'm talking about my phone clicks. Right as I'm directly across from the 333, the phone clicks. And I said, there's no way this is Sir Rod, man. It can't be Sir Rod, man. And I look at the phone, and it's you saying, hey, pleasure. Bang. And it was right as I was right on that 333. So I believe that was a synchronicity. And I think we can definitely go out and do some big things together. I don't think I know we can. And I know, you guys.
I said, a lot of people, Kurt, reach out to me all the time, and I only click with a few. Like I said, I dig your energy from day one. I really feel you're sincere, even just what you're doing with your messaging, with your brand. And, I believe I did a video one time about being anointed. I don't know if you ever saw that, but I believe certain people are anointed to do certain things.
If you could send it to me, that'd be great.
Well, one of the tests to show that to prove that you're anointed, basically, people who bless you get blessed, and people who curse you get cursed. In the same way, when we spoke on the phone, you gave me a lot of positive energy. I was excited. Like I said, even if we never do anything, just to bring a little light in someone's world is a good thing. And so I think you're being blessed. I feel like I'm anointed. Anybody that ever done anything good to me, they just tend to just, good things seem to happen to them.
Hey.
Likewise, though, there have been a few people that did some things that I feel they didn't have permission to do. And then they're no longer on the world. They're dead. So Not to curse anybody, I always pray for people. Please, God, don't do anything. They didn't know any better. But I always get happy to see people prospering and their dreams coming true. I really do. And it's not fake. I get excited because I feel like if you could do it, wow, I could do it too.
Hey, we can do it together. Teamwork makes the dream work. And definitely, I'm inspired to see what you're doing right now too. Definitely your message inspired me. And, just that you made it so simple. Yes. When you start seeing these things, people say it's coincidence. There is no such thing as coincidence, my friends and all the listeners out there. Everything has a purpose behind it. And, speaking of that, let's I see that you're singing the blues and I've been hearing some of your music and I love it. How have you transitioned into this, and how have you has COVID kind of allowed you to kind of take that step back and reflect and start this? Or tell me a little bit about that.
That is, whatever this 333 thing is, it's always a step ahead of me. Back in 2019, just before COVID hit, I have an uncle. I don't know if you've seen it, a famous uncle that Sterling McGee, and he had mental issues. He had a breakdown when he was younger, and he lived in our house for a couple of years down in Florida. But he was always our crazy uncle that stayed at our house. He played the guitar in the living room. We was always exposed to, him playing the blues and stuff, but I didn't know any better. It's kind of like, we just thought everybody played blues in the house and people would come over. Our house turned into a little cotton club. So years later, my uncle moved to New York and started playing on the streets. And he ran into a guy by the name of Adam Gusso. harmonica player. They became a duo, Satan and Adam. And that's another thing. My uncle started calling himself Satan. And he started calling himself Satan to mess with my grandmother because she was real religious. So she said he was playing the devil music. So if he was playing the devil music, just call me Satan. So they started this thing in New York. They played on the streets in New York for about 10 years, up until one day they were playing and this hippie guy come up to them while they were and with video cameras rolling. And the hippie guy was U2.
Wow.
Bono and
Wow.
The Edge walked up to him and heard my uncle playing a song called Freedom for My People. Fell in love with that song, and then they put their song on their album. One of the only non-U2 songs ever on one of their albums, Hum and Roll, I think it's called. So that established them. They fly all over the world. They with Bo Diddley, all kind of stuff. And so my uncle ended up having another mental break, and the music stops. Matter of fact, this whole story is on Netflix. It's called Satan and Adam.
Okay.
So on Netflix. So I saw the documentary, and by that time I'm singing in nursing homes. That's another thing. I got so much stuff.
Got a lot of tricks. Got a lot of tricks up your sleeve, right, Sir Rod?
My foundation is music. I always loved music, but my gifts, my talent, is art. See all this? I painted all those.
Oh wow, man! So you're just a very creative spirit.
So, but my gift, I do that without even thinking. I'm a graphic artist, painter, all that. But my passion is music. That's why you got the guitars and all that. So that passion, the art, got me into music. So I said all that to say that when I had downtime, and I also found out that I could motivational speak, talking to the kids, whatever. I stumbled into that nursing homes have entertainers that come through and sing to the elderly. And I found out that the seniors have the same spirit as the kids. It's like a kid spirit. And we just fit hand in glove. So I put together a Motown show for the seniors, and I would go in and sing an hour presentation to them. And seniors in in memory care and states of dementia, the power of music brings them right back. I've had nurses come up to me with tears in their eyes.
I love that. You know, I have a friend of mine who works at the gym that I go to, and he has pretty severe Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I've noticed about him, and I love it so much, is when I go and do my shower and everything. He's a friend of mine now, and he wants my phone right when I walk into the gym, and he plays rock and roll. He plays
the music.
His class rock. When he's playing his music, he lights up like a Christmas tree. And I think that everybody truly has greatness inside of him. And even though that he has Down syndrome, he has something that a lot of us don't have as well. He has this uplifting spirit. I have yet to see him in a dark state of mind. Right. I have not seen him. He is uplifting. He's the light of the locker room. And I think that's just amazing that music really does, it truly brings life to people.
Oh yeah. I'm a witness. I had a nurse come up to me, or a coordinator. Sometimes I do these presentations, and these people in all different states of physical and mental abilities. So they had a gurney. Sometimes they bring a bed out into the cafeteria area, or the area where I perform. And this lady was in a gurney. And so at some point I come out and I just shake everybody's hands and, get them all into it. And so this lady reached her hand out, I shook her hand, and I went on and finished doing the show. Afterwards, the coordinator came up to me crying. She said she rushed to go get her phone, because when that lady that was in the gurney hand I shook, she's like usually out of it. And so the coordinator rushed to get her phone to tape it so she could show her husband that she came out of this this state, this quiet state. She was like normal for a minute doing the music. And wow. I didn't think anything of it. She shook my hand, I shook her hand, and she was rocking to the music. And then afterward, they go back quiet again.
You got to go back to that nursing home and shake her hand again.
I know. That's what, trust me, I've been back 3 or 4 times. But yeah,
That's amazing. It sounds like she definitely has a love for music as well. What do you think makes you so good at real? Why do the kids, you said a rapper gets out there and says, "Hey, don't do drugs." What makes you so much better? Why are you so good, do you feel like, with really reaching the kids?
I think, Curb, I think it's something either you're born with or you're not. It's the energy. I mean, it's literally, and not that I'm special, but I think we all given gifts and talents for a purpose.
I think you are
I did
special.
another video. I said that if you have gifts and talents that you're holding on to and you don't share, technically you stealing. You got other people's stuff.
That's a gem
And
right there. That's a gem.
I tell the people in a nursing home, they look at me like I'm all special. I said, I can sing, I can dance, I can do all this stuff, but what I'm going to do with it? Sit and look at myself in the mirror?
I love the way you said that. And you know what? I have a different way of saying it, but that's why I want to bring different people that are inspired, that are growing, that are evolving, that are heading to the top. And I'm still looking up. I don't see the top. Do you, Sir Rod? I don't see it.
Oh,
So I love the way you said that, because I believe the same thing. I look at people that are stuck in their lives, and I don't want to say that I don't have hate towards them, but it hurts me inside, because at one point I was stuck. I was stuck smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, doing the same thing every day, going like this. And I believe you're either growing or you're dying. So I was dying. And I believe God put each, or the universe, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, evolution, whatever you want to call it, each and every person on this planet has a special gift and can do whatever they set their minds to, in whatever shape or form it is. And when you're not tapping into yourself and those gifts, I feel like you're letting yourself down and you're letting this world down. And it hurts me. And that's, one of the biggest purposes of my mission is to make the world a better place, one person at a time. I had to start with myself. It's got to start with you, because if you can't get inspired and figure out what your gifts are and free those to the world, then how are you supposed to inspire anybody else to do the same?
That's something I tell the kids. I done told close to 1 million kids exactly what you said. I tell them, each and every one of you were born with a special gift, a special talent, a special thing, something that you can do better than anyone else in the whole wide world. Now it's up to you to figure out what your gift, what that talent, what that thing is. And once you figure it out, it's your responsibility to share that gift with the rest of the world. I bet you guys couldn't imagine that some of you guys' gift, your talent, your thing might be a cure for cancer, diabetes, or you might invent a car and go 1,000 miles on a single drop of gas. Now, if you did something like that, would you think that'd be important to the world? And they say, yes. You think somebody would care if you came up with a cure for cancer? Yeah. Then give yourselves a round of applause. And then go into
Definitely. No, I absolutely love that. And, it's so true. You got to, it's definitely about tapping into your potential for sure. So that's a great way
stay in your lane. I think this what's wrong with this generation. One thing, I used to run track. And when I used to run the hurdles, the instructions the coach told me, no matter what, is keep your eyes in your lane. Don't look over at that person. Don't worry about that. Run your race. I think We're too busy doing this. And we're too busy doing that. Your gifts ain't my gifts. And it's kind of like a leopard trying to be an elephant, or an elephant trying to be a bear, or a bear trying to be a lion.
Albert Einstein has an incredible quote with that. He says, I'll look it up after, but he pretty much says, hey, take a fish and take a fish and tell him to climb a tree, or, something along those lines.
Right.
I forget and it's like, everybody has that gift, be that fish swimming in the water, be the cat climbing up the tree. Listen to what you do, but people just get, and I don't want to say it's their fault, but, at the end of the day, it's your life. So, you can't place blame on anybody else but yourself, but, everybody has that uniqueness inside of them. And one thing I think that really happens is, we're influenced so much by our surroundings, by our parents, by our teachers. How do you feel about the school system and how they develop, kids?
Same problem. I've been on the front lines, you in my lane as far as with the school system. The problem is, and also I'm dyslexic. That's another thing. When you look at me, I'm somebody who's in tune with his gifts, his talents, and there's no, don't tell me I can't do something. I'm dyslexic, but I've written not one, not two, three, 4 books.
Oh, wow. I need to check out some of your books. Where can we find your books at?
Oh, everything's on Amazon.
Sir Rod. Sir Rod Patterson. Check him out on Amazon. You got lots of jewels. And what I'm realizing is we speak the same language, because I'm learning a whole lot more about you right now than I did, because I'm seeing your music, I'm seeing you talking and inspiring the kids, but we speak the exact same language. And I think and definitely to everybody out there listening, I think it's so important to find a mentor, find a coach, find somebody's podcast that inspires you most, because a lot of the times we're all saying the same thing, but in a different way. My mentor, Dr. DeMartini, and what I say now is that it's all about finding what your values are. We're all made up of a different hierarchy of values, and your gift lies within your highest priority value. What's your top value? For me, it's health, business, personal development. For you, it might be inspiring kids, music, and I think your highest priority value, the Greek gods used to call it your telos. It's another word for purpose. And I feel like that's what it is.
My whole purpose, my whole life, after looking back and reflecting on everything, I've been, some people are drug dealers. I'm a dream pusher. I'm a dream builder. All my friends, I'm always telling them you should. You're so gifted at that. Why don't you do this? And man, I love the way you do this and do that. And that's what I do naturally. And I try to bring that same energy, my gift, to all my talents, because there's a difference between your gifts and your talent. My gift is lighting up rooms and passing this energy, the same thing I do to old people and kids. I just attach that to music. Same thing with the blues. I started doing my uncle, while I was singing the nursing home stuff, I used to rehearse every day. And afterwards, as a treat to myself, I would put on karaoke music, whatever. But my uncle's track came on one of his old records, and I started singing to it over a microphone. And I realized, dang, I sound a lot like my uncle. Never even thought about it, and then I reached out to this guy here, Adam Gusso.
Yes, that's the one I recently saw you just did. Come together. That's what it's all about.
Come together. And long story short, I told him I can sing my uncle's stuff. Next thing you know, we're in the studio. And last year in November, we were in the studio recording the first session, and then we finished up in February. Before COVID, it came in.
Oh, wow. So this was way before COVID.
The last session, we were coming in to sing our last song. The last 3 songs. I had been practicing for about a month. And Adam sends me this recording, some YouTube video that they did in a rehearsal, some song they made up. But he said the response was real good, Rod. He said, we got like 172 likes and only 1 or 2 dislikes. He said, never had a respond like that. And so I have to get up like 4 o'clock in the morning to drive to Mississippi to do a recording session. And I've been rehearsing a month, this other material. So it's like 6 in the afternoon. I said, I hope I don't like this song. I clicked the button. I fell in love with it immediately. And that was the music to come together. I wrote that song in an hour and a half.
Wow.
And it was divine intervention. And basically, I don't know why the words, you wearing red and I'm wearing blue, when the real enemy lies, cheats, and kills, taking everything. That was all before COVID. And then next month, COVID hit.
And see, what I love about it was like a perfect timing for that album to come out, because number one, it's a black man with 2 white guys on the side of it. Yep. It's the heart of this whole, Black Lives Matter thing. There was so much racial tension going on. Yep. So I think it was perfect timing. And at the end of the day, why can't we just all come together, man? Yep. Come on, man. We're all created equal. We all have a genius. We all have a gift. Let's come together. And the more that we work together, the more we're going to be able to move this world forward. And that's the bottom line.
That's right. We all on like Carl Sagan says, we're all on this pale blue dot in the middle of nothing. All we got.
That's it. I love that. Have you ever heard of Haniqua Copeland?
No.
I don't feel like I'm saying her name right. She's a huge blues singer. I'm not, I would be lying if I said I was super into blues.
Well, I'm not super into blues. I'm telling you, Adam has been schooling me on it. This is my first time ever recording in a studio.
Well, no, don't get me.
Had all these gifts.
Right.
And everybody can't sing the blues, I found out.
Right. No, I love listening to blues music. I'm just saying in terms of like the names and stuff, but I'm definitely connected to one of the biggest. Her father was the biggest in the world. So maybe I'll have to try to connect the 2 of you guys and see if anything can come of it. Definitely. Hey, teamwork makes the dream work. I know about that.
What you can do, my biggest mission right now is we're scrambling to try to get the song Come Together to the Biden administration. I've been reaching out to the Keisha Lance Bottoms, Hank Johnson here, the Senators, because I believe that song, it ain't whether you red or blue. I think this country needs to come together.
Amen. Amen.
And so whether you red or blue, the spirit of the song ain't about Biden or Trump.
Amen.
It's we need to come together.
More than ever.
So much stronger together.
Definitely. And I think this USA is the strongest nation. But hey, Rome was built in a day, and it can also be destroyed in a day. This country could be destroyed if we don't come together. And I think that we truly can. It's just a matter of, people like Sir Rod, keep inspiring the kids. I'm going to keep inspiring with my mission. And
Kids our future.
Definitely. But no, I'll see if I have any, people that I can push it to. I'll definitely kind of start thinking a little bit.
I'm just knocking on everybody's door because I really believe this should be an anthem for everybody, because just listening to the words, not even we're donating it. I want to donate it to the administration.
Right.
So
let me ask you this: few more questions here.
No.
What would you say is a really big challenge you've overcome in your life?
Oh wow, dyslexia, and that was my biggest thing. Me in school, I barely graduated. I graduated. It came down, Kirby. It came so close that it came down to one social studies test. And I studied, and I went and took the test. And I know there ain't no way I passed that test. So I went and told the teacher afterwards, I turned this test in. I said, look, you don't want to see me, and I don't want to see you no more. And so now, if I graduate, everything's depending on this test. And so she told me, well, let me grade it. Show up at graduation, and either it's going to be a diploma or a certificate of attendance.
So definitely, no, that's very inspiring that you were able to overcome that, because there's a lot of people out there that have these labels, and they're even myself. I used to say I have OCD. It's just the way I am. I can't overcome these things. And now I'm realizing that they're just labels that society wants to put on you, that these labels do not define who you are. What they're telling you as your biggest weakness might actually be your biggest strength.
I call it the gift of dyslexia. It was because of dyslexia. It makes me have to think outside the box. And I realized that I just learn differently. That's why it's just like I can write, I can talk, I can memorize stuff. I hear music. I got over 60 songs, 70 songs, lyrics memorized in my head.
Wow.
The same different sets. So can't be your mental capacity can't be that bad if you can remember that. I can play the piano. I'm learning.
You got a genius in it. I love how you said that, because that's something that's the biggest thing I've learned this year, is that we all learn differently. And I kept setting a goal, even since I started this Kirby Better mindset, for the last 3 years, when I've really been pushing personal development more than ever. Yes. For the last 4 years, I've set a goal to read 10 books a year, and I failed myself every single year. And it hurts me, because I set a goal, and I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I just can't freaking read. Maybe I'm just not in this area. I knew I was pushing something, which was business, but
attention span.
Maybe I'm not smart like these other people in this area. So at my mentor, Dr. DeMartini's seminar, I asked him, I said, Dr. DeMartini, and I'm definitely going to work on a post on this here at the end of this year. I said, Dr. DeMartini, how, I keep failing myself with reading books, but everybody keeps telling me over and over that, you learn better when you read, as opposed to listening to an audiobook, as opposed to an audiobook. He said, Kirby, because Dr. DeMartini is the one who woke me up to my genius and allowed me to take these chains down from society, what they were telling me, all these labels. And I asked him, he goes, Kirby, everybody learns differently. Do what works best for you. And it wasn't even close. And I said, so if I listen to a book as opposed to read, do you think it's just as good? He says, it's whatever works best for you, Kirby. And I researched after that seminar, which was last July, that the top CEOs in the world read 52 books a year. Well, right now we are recording this on December. What is today? December 22nd. 22nd is also a number that I love as well. To me, that means financial success. So let's go get some financial success this year, my man, and into 2021. But I told myself that I was going to read 52 books. And on December 22nd, I have 9 days to read 2 more books. And I'm already finished. I'm already about to finish the second one. I've listened to about 45 books, and I've read the rest this year. So and I absorb it like crazy. I take notes, but I'm more of a list. I learn more from listening as opposed to, I can't sit still for 2 seconds, man. I got to be on the treadmill. I got to be moving. I got to be in the car making moves, but I absorb and I listen, and that's the way I learn.
I'm a combination of both. I like to listen. What I do is when I read, I'm a slow reader, but I comprehend really well. So what I'll do is if I try to get a book with maybe 100 pages. If it's 300 pages, then I know I can do probably 100 pages in about a week. That's me. But I get a schedule. So every morning when I get up, I'll check off the paragraphs. So I know if I read 10 paragraphs, that's so many pages. And then I just nickel and dime it all the way through until it's good.
That's great. That's accountability. I just got finished reading a book called Atomic Habits. And what you're doing is you're habit tracking right there, which holds you accountable to the habits, and it shows you your progress. So that's definitely a great skill that you have there. What would you say the biggest thing that we need to change in the school system is right now to really inspire these kids, as opposed to turning them into just workers?
That one size fit all mentality that the school system does, and also the kids, in my opinion, are last in the totem pole. But I think it's going to be different now after COVID. And, it's going to be a different reality. But used to be, we couldn't even give a show to some schools because it came down to curriculum time. Even though some kids were being bullied to death, where they were committing suicide, I would knock on certain school districts and they would deny the program. And then that same school district would have kids killing themselves. And we were trying to give them the program. So, but they were so concerned about money opposed to the kids.
I love that. I think I agree with you 100%. The work that you're talking about, the work that Dr. DeMartini is talking about, that he's putting out into the world, the work that I'm working on now, putting out to the world. I think that's what the kids need more than anything. Yeah, they need to know social studies. Yeah, they need to understand math, but they have to find out what their gift is. And I think teach the kids right off the bat how to find that gift. And all the other stuff, you'll start reading 52 books a year because you're so inspired.
Yeah, because it's going to be inspiring, and they're going to have something, any kid that know what their thing is always does well in school. Even Definitely. Michael Jackson had a tutor, but he made his A's and B's. He was traveling all over, but
I think we know what his genius was.
Oh my God, who knows? Yeah, I know, right? One that inspires me is Prince. I was like, I've just been looking at him like a musical god. I mean, Michael was his thing, but Prince could play every instrument.
Wow, that's
play
amazing.
It better. He could show the bass player how to play the bass better than the bass player can play it. The guitar player, the drums, all that.
That's amazing. Let me ask you one more question. I feel like I could talk to you all day, Sir Rod. And we're definitely gonna stay in touch a lot more now. And I feel like there's so many synchronicities. When you see these, I call them synchronicities. Patterns, numbers. But I'm really definitely sensing. You said even if we don't do something together, we still have inspired each other, and that's all that matters. And I agree with that 100%.
Well, I see your light shining way in Atlanta.
Definitely. Hey, but your light is shining all the way down here in Houston, Texas, my man. And I do feel confident that we are going to do something. My teammate who just walked out, Jordan, every time we're doing goal setting, the number one goal that he keeps talking about over and over is he wants to, and he has family in Atlanta as well. Mm-hmm. We recently got him on the team, and he's seeing 3-3-3 a little bit now. Had to get him on the wave.
Yeah, he was telling me about that.
Definitely, but Jordan, his one of the number one things he wants to do is he really wants to inspire these kids to get them out of the inner cities, and he's a basketball expert. And I just interviewed another friend who I had a synchronicity with, who came out with the "See You at the Top" album this year, and I was searching for "See at the Top" on Apple Music, and he came up. And as a matter of fact, his father and him have a charity called Keep Climbing, See You at the Top, which is all about inspiring the kids. So for me, and I don't know if I've told you a little something. I'm putting all this together right now. Wow. So I don't know if I've told you, but I was kicked out of school, and in the middle of, because I was smoking weed, and I had got kicked. I was literally a high school dropout. My mom, I come from a great family, was a lawyer of a dad, and an incredible, the best mother on the planet. And my parents said, I can't let my kid go on like this and go down this route of, potentially most likely ending up in jail. So in the middle of the night, I was kidnapped by two ex-CFL football players, and I was thrown into the Salt Lake City West Desert. A soft white boy from the suburbs in Houston, Texas, was thrown into the freezing, from Houston, Texas, never seen snow, into the freezing negative conditions of the Salt Lake City West Desert to hike and learn more about myself for 3 months. And that's when I really started to do push-ups and realize health was very important to me. And I started to shift my identity. And I got out of that environment, that toxic environment, which is so important, because you are a product of your.
Because that was up to you, Kirby, you could have did that and still went right back to what you left.
Definitely. And that's what gets me to my point. And I did actually go right back to what I was doing before, not to that extent, because I definitely did shift my identity, but I ended up getting inspired by walking into a boxing gym. But the number one thing that they don't teach you in there, it definitely takes you out of the environment, but their philosophy that they taught me was a bunch of, it didn't make any sense. It was like, you got to get out of the box. The philosophy was very weak. It was even more weak than they're teaching us in school. So I have a vision of creating this spiritual retreat for kids to come to. And all of a sudden, Jordan, he's going to have this basketball retreat. And, I would love to collaborate with you on something like that, and just help touching these kids.
I told you I had a vision of something called Knowledge Fest, where I just believe a lot of these kids don't get exposed. How many, I was in front of thousands upon thousands of kids, even in the urbans, in the inner cities. How many Tiger Woods that have never touched a golf club or Venus Arena? Because in the inner cities, they're not getting exposed to that. How many computer geniuses that don't have a computer and never will touch one, or they're just working it out on the cell phone? So it's a lot of things. I believe if we had a knowledge fest, so these kids can get a little taste. How many will never touch a paintbrush? How many never, they have gifts and talents. They just got to be exposed to it. So yeah, definitely.
I love that. We'll put on something together, and we'll bring out all these different, creative things.
I don't know what the next thing's going to be. Like I said, I was at the top. I just came back from Korea. They wanted me to come back to Korea and speak. I was speaking in military bases for the kids, and my message for the bullying was just, now I don't know what schools are going to be like. So maybe if we could do something off campus, that would be hot. And draw me.
We're gonna figure something out. We're gonna keep climbing, that's for sure. The last question I want to ask you is, so see you at the top, what does that mean to me? What does that mean to us? To us, see you at the top means that when you get to the top of the mountain and you look to the right, there's another mountain that's even higher. It's a constant evolution. There is no top. There is no limits. There is no ceiling. People say sky's the limit. Elon Musk is going to Mars. So what would you say? So with that being said, what would you say your one tip is for what it takes to get to the top?
Oh, my one tip is one I live by: practice, practice, practice. Practice eliminates any competition. Kobe Bryant, it was in NBA. He just out-practiced the other players. Whoever practiced the most, worked the hardest, is at the top. So I just, like I said, I practice. After I get off with you, I got an hour rehearsal, and I've been doing this 30 years, Kirby. I still rehearse. I got to rehearse my blues, and then I got to rehearse the guitar. And then my day is over after I rehearse, and I'm running late. Usually I'm done by 3:30, but I had to do some Christmas shopping today.
Nice. Hey, it's coming up. Well, hey, Merry Christmas to you. This has been an absolute pleasure. Man, Sir Rod, we're going to definitely stay in touch. I'd love to get you back on for the podcast again. If I can help you with anything in the future, definitely let me know. I'm going to start trying to toss some names around in my head, see if I can get Biden to take over this. Come together. And
come together. I'm telling you, we get that to the Biden tour. I'm telling you, we get that to Biden, the Biden administration. They're going to love it. I just got to get past all the gatekeepers.
Definitely. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to wrap it up. Like Sir Rod says, the answer is yes. Yes, you are great. Yes, you are beautiful. Yes, you are perfect. 333 for life. We're going to keep going. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as me. See you at the top.
See you at the top. That's where I go.